Hey guys, welcome to Series World. Today I'm going to explain a mystery thriller series called Burning Body from 2023. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The last episode opens with a flashback. Rosa and Albert are seen riding a roller coaster together. The scene changes to Rosa shopping with Pedro in the supermarket. They go to the parking lot after they're done with shopping. While Pedro is taking out the car, Rosa calls Albert and tells him that he has bought some coupons for them for Portaventura. They'll go there after they're done with the job. The judge asks Esther whether by the job they meant killing Pedro. Esther agrees that it could be possible. For them, Pedro was an obstacle. The judge then plays a voice message that Pedro sent to Juan the day he died. In the message, he tells Juan that they wanted to invite them to spend the day at La Torre. Flashbacks show Pedro getting up early that morning. He makes Rosa get up early too, as they have to go to meet with her parents. While they're putting the bags inside the car, Rosa asks Pedro whether he has seen her drink. Pedro replies that he drank that earlier. Rosa starts fighting with Pedro about this, and he decides not to go to meet her parents anymore. At present, Esther is reading out a message from Rosa to Pedro. In the message, Rosa tells him that she's sick of doors being slammed, and she doesn't know how to make him trust her. Esther explains that they've been seeing this recurring toxic pattern in Rosa and Pedro's relationship from their cell phone history. The judge thinks Rosa did this on purpose to not arouse suspicion. The scene changes to Rosa telling Pedro sorry. She overreacted because she was stressed. Moreover, she suggests that she might be pregnant but requests Pedro not to tell her parents or Sofia. Pedro hugs her after hearing this, and they make up. Later, Pedro is seen working with Juan to clean their backyard. Rosa's mom is also preparing food. She expresses to Rosa that lately, her and Pedro's relationship has been off. Rosa assures her that she'll go back to work any day, and Pedro will be reinstated too. She then informs her mom that they've gone to the clinic about her pregnancy. Soon she'll have another cute little grandkid. Later, Rosa and Pedro have their lunch with her parents. They laugh and chat while planning for the future. Rosa took many photos with Pedro and her family that day and posted them on social media. Albert also saw the posts. The judge thinks Rosa did this so that she can later use it in her defense. The scene changes to Pedro and Rosa driving back home. At first, their conversation goes quite well. Pedro expresses how he wants to spend days like this with her more often. Rosa agrees that today was nice. Pedro asks her if she really will go back to work even if she's pregnant. Rosa tells him that she has no other choice because he doesn't work. They both then start screaming and fighting in front of Sofia about Pedro not providing for the house and losing the job for a stupid reason. He then stops the car and gets out of the house. Later that night, Rosa calls Albert using her hidden phone. She tells him that they have to do it tomorrow. She can't take Pedro anymore. Albert tells her to give him enough pills with the dinner to knock him out. They decide that Albert will come to her place at 2 a.m. so that neighbors don't see him. Albert tells her to call him on his second phone if something happens. He has purchased a phone that looks exactly like his own phone. He also purchased a SIM from a Chinese company, which he used to communicate with Rosa that night. That's why it took Esther and her team 3 years to track down the call history of that phone. They also couldn't find Pedro's medicine in the house, even though Sylvia mentioned that he kept them with him all the time. Rosa is now seen taking out Pedro's medicines. She then goes up to Sofia's room. Sofia is awake to her surprise. She can't sleep. Rosa tells her to dream about something, and it'll make her fall asleep. Rosa tucks Sofia in and goes to have dinner with Pedro. Pedro was drugged because even though he was a strong man, Rosa and Albert had no signs of injuries after the crime. While having dinner, Rosa tells Pedro that the mice are back, so he goes down and places some mice traps. He's barely able to keep his eyes open, so he plops down on the couch. Rosa sends a text on his phone asking whether there are mice down there. Albert also gets ready and leaves his house and goes to Rosa's place. Esther knows this because he accidentally took his main phone instead of the additional one, so they were able to track that down. Rosa then goes to Pedro to check up on him. He's half awake. He tells Rosa that he's feeling amazing. Pedro then asks her whether she loves him, and she tells him that there's no doubt. He tells her that he loves her too and goes into deep slumber. Albert enters the house and goes to Pedro's room with Rosa. Suddenly, a mouse comes out of nowhere, and Rosa screams after seeing it. This wakes up Pedro and he grabs Albert's leg. Esther tells the judge that they don't know exactly how they murdered Pedro. His body was burnt to ashes, and they were able to identify him by the metal screws he had in his back and the number plate. But the blood splatter pattern suggests that he was attacked with a blunt object. The scene shows Rosa and Albert all bloodied up. Pedro's blood is splattered everywhere on the wall. They put Pedro's body on his car's trunk. In the morning, Sophia comes down, and Rosa quickly takes off her bloodied sweater, while Albert swiftly gets out of the house. Esther is now telling the judge that Sophia said she could hardly sleep that night. The judge also adds that from Javi's statement, Sophia said that she also heard screams and noises. Moreover, she saw Rosa in bloodied clothes. Montse objects that it's unacceptable for Javi to give a statement on behalf of a minor that constitutes a serious accusation against her mother. Her objection was sustained. The scene shows Rosa taking Sophia to her grandparents. Sophia asks where Pedro was, and Rosa replies that he's upset and will get over it soon. Rosa requests Sophia to not think about any bad things tonight. Back to Esther, she's telling the judge how Sophia picked up Nestor's call on Pedro's phone. She told him that he was in the shower and pretended that Pedro was alive. She then texted Nestor and Sylvia pretending to be Pedro. Later, Rosa dropped off money that Pedro owed to the mechanic. While driving to the workshop, she kept Pedro's phone on and then turned it off. On the other hand, Albert was quite careful on April 2nd, and he left his phone back at home. The scene changes to Albert going to Rosa's place while Sophia is away. He asks her whether everything is all right, and she assures him that everything is fine. While they're talking, Rosa hears her parents and tells Albert to hide in the basement. Her parents and Sophia have come back to pick up Sophia's unicorn. Esther tells the judge that Rosa's father admitted that he lied on Rosa's request about seeing Pedro that day. The scene changes back to Rosa. Albert is also at her place. Later that night, Rosa sends a message to Pedro's phone telling how much she misses him. Albert and Rosa then drive Pedro's car to Javi's house with his phone, trying to insinuate that he was there. From there, she sent a message from Pedro's phone to her phone. The judge explains that they wanted to make it look like an argument between Pedro and Javi went wrong. Javi was the perfect scapegoat for them because there was tension and confrontations between Javi and Pedro. But their plan failed because Javi wasn't at home that night, and he was able to prove it. The scene changes to Albert and Rosa driving to Fox Reservoir with Pedro's body in his car's trunk. After reaching there, they light the car on fire. Esther states that on May 4th, a passerby reported seeing the car, and that day their investigation started. The judge then thanks her for testifying about the case. The scene changes to Sylvia meeting with Rosa in the prison. She requests her again and again to tell the truth, less for everyone but for her daughter, so that they can find some peace and she doesn't have to lose her daughter forever. On the next day of the trial, the judge explains that Rosa and Albert's love was unfulfilled before. Then she met Pedro. But things with Pedro were moving too fast, which she didn't like, and she also missed Albert. So, when the chance came, they both worked together to remove the obstacle, which was Pedro. Though the reason is clear, it's hard to understand why they did what they did. The judge then calls Albert to give a final statement. Albert says on the stand that he'd like to reiterate that he's innocent. Even though Albert and Pedro weren't friends, he wished Pedro's soul to rest in peace. And lastly, he says that he was just a puppet of Rosa. Nothing more, nothing less. After his statement is done, Rosa is called on the stand. Montse reminds her to stay calm and do this for Pedro and Sophia. She reminds Rosa about the handkerchief. Rosa says in her statement that she wants justice and Albert to pay for his actions. She ends her statement with this and leaves the stand. The jury is then told to vote on whether Albert and Rosa are guilty or not. The jury votes on both of them being guilty. The trial ends, and everyone leaves the courtroom. Sylvia and Nestor thanks Esther for her hard work, but she doesn't think she should celebrate this. Rosa is sentenced to 25 years in prison, and Albert is 20 years in prison. Moreover, they have to give a large amount of compensation to Pedro's family. Javi comes to Rosa's parents' place. Rosa's mom asks whether he's happy that Rosa is in jail now. Javi explains to her that he can't be happy. She is the mother of his child. The scene changes to Rosa meeting Sophia after a long time. Rosa keeps smiling after seeing Sophia. She tells her that she looks very pretty now and asks who dresses her. Sophia replies that she dresses up herself. Rosa then asks her whether she has a phone, and Sophia doesn't have one. Rosa asks her whether she enjoys school and whether people in her school talk about Rosa. Sophia confirms that she enjoys school, but they do talk about her mom a lot. Rosa promises her that she'll soon be with her. Montse will appeal the trial and they'll be together soon. At night, Rosa cries herself in her bed. In the morning, she gets up and goes to the field with other prisoners. Rosa and Albert's appeal was dismissed. Moreover, Rosa was given extra 5 years for her relationship with Pedro. And that's how we end this series. To watch more explanations of these kinds of series, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.